everybody. Welcome to another edition of Be Honest. So I'm excited about our guest today. He's a friend, I would say perhaps a friend of the show, if you will, depending on what we talk about. O'Shea Jackson Jr. So you know there is so much to talk about. Everyone will talk to you about your dad, Ice Cube, and what he's actually accomplished. You and I actually first met with you and your dad, right? Remember?
Yeah, back a while.
Back a while ago. It was when Straight Outta Compton was coming out. Yeah, that was and you were on the podcast then before it was a pod show.
Yeah. That's why I didn't know if we was going to do it.
That's what you're like, are we on camera or are we not on camera? Wow. Well, anyway, welcome to Be Honest, the updated version. I have to start with this because, as we know, Tuesday will be the last game of the season for our beloved Lakers. Homegrown here, so we're keeping it real home school.
Right.
If I had to ask you, in your honest opinion, what would you describe the problem was this season?
Injuries. Lonzo, Ingram, and LeBron only played 23 games together. LeBron James missed more games this season than he has any other season. And it's things like that you cannot ignore. I could go back and forth on Twitter all day with people telling me it's excuses, but being injured is being injured. And people got to remember when Kobe retired, Gary Vee retired too. And he, that was our trainer, that was our guy. Things are changing all around the organization.
It's so funny because, guys, he does not play for the Lakers, but earlier today we had Rick Fox, three-time NBA champion.
Rick Fox.
It just hits home when you say Rick Fox.
Three-time champion Rick Fox.
I asked him the following. Let's listen, and then I want to revisit your take.
Okay.
I want to look at this year, and I want to ask you quite simply, in your opinion, what went wrong?
Health. I look back to the Christmas Day game, and I think of LeBron's injury. The momentum was building, and then he was down. He was down for a number of months. When he returned, I think the trade deadline also then created a situation for our young players to experience what it means to be an NBA player professionally and business-wise. Some of them handled it well, others didn't. And I think at that point, I think the West is too strong, and we spiraled out.
Okay, so listen.
Yeah,
I got to look at the camera and say this because I am a true Laker fan. However, folks, health is not the only reason. Health is not the only reason. I love the Lakers. I'm going to be honest. I'm asking you to be honest. That's the point of being on the podcast.
Right, okay. Yeah.
What was the problem?
And we can't shoot. And we can't shoot, Shout out to the vets that we got for the 1-year deals, but we wasn't shooting. You can't trade Zubat for Mike Muscala. I don't know where they make Mike Muscala Laker jerseys at, but I don't have one. And I miss Zoo. The LA Zoo. Like I needed him. I really had a lot of faith in that guy. I hate to see him go to the Clippers. But it's, we just couldn't shoot. We had a bunch of ball handlers, a bunch of playmakers, and nobody wanted to make a play.
But O'Shea, I have to tell you this. We aren't even factoring in. I get LeBron was out. And he's
a big piece.
He's a huge piece.
Yeah.
But then there were a series of other things that happened. I felt like that young core, and I say young, was really great.
Yeah.
But when they heard that they perhaps could have been traded, and this is what this is, a business, that messed up the entire chemistry. How does that happen for an entire team? Who's the leader that puts that team back together and says, you got to put your head back in the game? This is a business. And why didn't that happen for the Lakers?
Well, as far as the young core goes, before this whole LeBron situation happened, our leader was Julius Randle. That was our guy. And he was the first piece through all of this. He was our number 7 pick. He was first in the rebuild. And so when we lost Julius, you kind of turned to Brandon. You kind of turned to Brandon Ingram for him to take the rides until we got LeBron James.
Okay.
And it just
Brandon,
yes.
How?
When you lose Julius Randle, and this is before you get LeBron James and all that hoopla over. That was our senior player. Everybody else is new to the team. Brandon is the only one that's been here. You don't got D'Angelo no more, and he needed to take the reins a little bit. And I feel that losing Lonzo is way bigger than what people think because of the defense on the court.
I agree. He kept the ball moving. He was excellent in that way, and we totally forgot about that.
His defense, his IQ is through the roof. He's irreplaceable.
So, but here's the big picture. Once we get LeBron, everyone's in the streets. You guys, for folks at the house, everybody in the streets in LA dancing. It was a celebration. We thought it was a chip. We was like that close to a chip. We got LeBron. We back.
It's just closer.
Y'all keep that same energy. Closer, but we were so mad at everybody, so jealous of us. How do you decide to put that group of people around LeBron. That's to me what I'm getting at. I'm getting at the front office. I'm getting at the coaching. I'm all like, how do you put this group of veterans around LeBron? What, nobody else available?
Yeah, that's something that you really need to look at. The 1-year contracts that were chosen to ride with LeBron this year. Everybody's seeing LeBron in the finals. He wouldn't leave. Like, we know what type of team he needs around him. So it was just, from the jump, it was an experiment, and it just looked like it didn't work. It just didn't work.
Luke loses his job, yes or no? And if he does, why?
Unfairly, he'll lose his job, and it's because it's the Lakers. You know, we are a different type beast than what he was signed up for. You know, when we took on Luke, we had a bunch of young guys, young core. You know, it was fun, it was relaxed. But then when you get LeBron James and you're trying to like sniff that championship, it's just a different.
But that's not fair.
Animal. It's not fair. Lakers not fair. We traded Shaquille O'Neal. We traded Shaq. We're not really fair. You know, like a franchise. So like it's just about winning. And if you don't win, the easiest thing for them to do is to get rid of a coach.
So who's the next replacement? In my mind, who can coach LeBron? Is there anybody who can coach LeBron?
No. I mean, like, I really don't. That's the thing. If we're going to get rid of our coach, we better have somebody in place already. Or I don't want
that LeBron respects. Otherwise, it's the same story.
Exactly. I mean, you know, they saw it with, what's my man? Mike Brown. Remember Mike Brown? LeBron wasn't coached by Mike Brown. LeBron
is probably hard to coach, and that's the thing.
Probably.
With the greats.
Eric Spoelstra, Tyronn Lue.
Sure.
I'm gonna give Spoelstra more credit than Lue. No disrespect to Lue. But like Eric Spoelstra had the formula to control D-Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh, make them happy enough to win 2 chips.
I'll one-up you on that. I'll tell you that D-Wade controlled all those egos.
Oh, yeah?
I'll tell you, he was the one who led by example, and they fell in line because of him, and they respected him. I have a hard time believing Spoelstra had that much control. I think that D-Wade led so quietly, and that and LeBron was new to all this, and so he followed his lead in the first few years.
Spoelstra is LeBron's best coach he's ever had.
Probably. What about Tyronn Lue, the rumors of him being a Laker coach?
Well, he a Laker always because he won championships, but like, you know, this coaching situation is just ugly. And I know LeBron I'm not going to say he's not going to, but we know it's a better situation if he has another superstar here. And that's why this summer is so important. We got to get one of the Ks.
Okay, you guys, document it. Today he says this summer is so important.
It's so important. Like,
this summer is so important.
If we don't get nobody this summer, I'm like, listen, Kawhi, I keep hearing all this Clipper noise. Quit tripping.
I don't want to. Listen,
Kyrie, thank you for the meeting. Thank you for the meeting, Kyrie.
We cannot talk about the Clippers.
Ew.
Disgusting.
Infesting the city. Y'all need to move. It's just disrespectful.
It's so disrespectful.
Yeah, man. Ugh.
So
Patrick
bad.
Beverly.
We are so bad. Homers for life.
Yeah.
Speaking of home, and I'll take a turn here, a hard turn.
Okay.
It wasn't that long ago, Sunday and a half ago, about a week and a half ago, we found out that Nipsey Hussle was murdered in front of his store in South Central.
Yeah.
Marathon clothing store. And I think you, your father, a lot of people who are very familiar with the streets, who understand this rap game probably better than I could ever explain it, were very upset by this. And I think we've been trying to explain it to people who aren't from LA, what he meant to LA. Your reaction to his death, and how would you describe what he meant to LA?
It's a tragedy, you know, when it's so many examples in rap music of people who, you know, are always in the news for wrong reasons or knuckleheads or things like that. And when you have somebody who was given back to his community, you know, to better the city, to better us as a people, you see that it was somebody who had the bigger picture in mind, and to have them taken away from us is not just about music.
Yeah.
It is beyond music. It is what he meant to the lives of the people in that community, and to us in LA. Like, that was one of our greats. And when you're murdered, your life story is turned into a what if, because of somebody else, somebody who can't see the bigger picture. And so it's just, it's sad on so many levels, because you see somebody who was not only who had the opportunity and who made it out, but he was trying to take his people out with him?
Well, I want to hang on that for a moment, because I'd like to know candidly, did your father ever talk about it? He grew up in the hood. NWA, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, perfect example of people who were in the streets, who had a dream, who then took the dream and did more than make it a dream. You capitalized off it, they made it a business. What kind of life lesson did your father tell you about in terms of his childhood versus obviously what you grew up with, and what the game is on the streets?
It's just about providing for your family, making sure your family is secure, and then once you get into your position, making opportunities for others. There's so much talent, it's so many people out there that's just looking for a door to be open to them, and they'll never get the opportunity because of whatever situation that they're going through in their living situation, or however they were raised. They might not even have the mindset to get out, but once you are one to get out, it is about presenting opportunities to others, because that not only raises yourself, but us as a people. And if you really want to do better and make the world a better place and all of that, it takes steps like that as an individual to give yourself selflessly to your people, to better them.
I just look at the blueprint that they provided. We had Too Short on right after Nipsey's death, and there was a true blueprint. There were those who did it before Nipsey. This is what we did. We grew up here. You want to help your people, you want to help the culture, you want to give back, you want to invest in your community to make it better. But what you talk about is a mindset that your father shares with you. That mindset has to be something people can understand. Everybody's not ready.
Right, yeah, you can't. My mother, she always tells me, you can't feed a baby steak. You can't give somebody something that they're not ready for. You got to piece by piece that until they can see it themselves for, what it is.
The funeral is right across the street from where we are filming this pod show at the Staples Center, home to the Lakers and the Clippers. And then we are being told,
to the Lakers.
Specifically the Lakers. And then we're being told that they'll take his casket and they will actually showcase it through the streets of Los Angeles, so that people can honor him. And they actually moved the funeral to the Staples Center so it could accommodate all of the fans and obviously friends and family that want to pay their respects to Nipsey Hussle. So thank you for commenting on that. We obviously give our respects to his family and friends. And again, I say this over and over again, may he rest in peace. Yes. As we, in that segment, let's transition, because again, we will celebrate his life on Thursday, and we also want to celebrate what you have going on. I'm impressed by how you have been able to come into this world, this game, another type of game, this Hollywood game. You did one movie, and you were a showstopper. You were a star. A lot of people say you're just being your dad, but that's still hard to do. And if not, more pressure. Is that not the case? For sure. It's,
SOC, Straight Outta Compton. That was one of the scariest moments in my life. I was just a college student, and my dad tells me about this film, says, they're taking the NWA movie seriously, and I was happy for him. Yeah. But then he told me that, in the perfect world, I'd play him. And so that became a period of a 2-year audition process to get that, working with acting coaches and just proving that I had what it takes. And then once you do that film, after that, everybody has their own idea of who I am or what I do. And I was just playing my dad. So every film that I picked after Straight Outta Compton is to be able to show my range, to show that I'm here to stay. All right, so speaking of range, you have a movie coming up next with the great Charlize Theron. Yeah, she could do everything. Can you get on the pod? I would like to talk to her. She's great. About many things. She should definitely come do this podcast. Tell me about the film, the name of the film, and your role in it. The movie's called Long Shot. It's out May 3rd. Yeah. My man Seth Rogen plays Fred Flarsky, who's a political journalist, and he's going after the Secretary of State, Charlize Theron. And she's running for the President of the United States. So it's kind of a big fish for him to catch. And she used to be his babysitter, and he's infatuated. He wants to keep talking to her, and he doesn't think he can. So me as his best friend, I'm aiding him on, and it leads to him getting pulled on their campaign and a bunch of wild stuff. Okay, wait, so it's a comedy. Oh yeah, it's
a
very
long
smart
shot
comedy.
in more ways than one. Right?
Yes, it's a long shot for her to become the first female president,
right?
and for him to land.
Like okay.
Yeah,
have you ever like stepped to a chick and been like, "This is a long shot," but I'm gonna be like, "Yo, what's up?"
Look, Kobe ain't never saw a shot he was scared to take.
Say it again.
Kobe ain't never saw a shot he was scared to take.
Shooters gonna shoot. That's the whole point. Shooters gonna shoot.
Shooters gonna shoot.
And you also, I mean, good summer for you. Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
Got Godzilla May 31st. Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I'm calling it the pay-per-view of monster movies because if you're a Godzilla fan, you know names like Mothra and Rodan and King Ghidorah, and they're all in this picture. Right. And yeah, it goes down. It's probably the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen.
Okay, well, no, I was clearly you're in it. Duh.
I mean, well, yeah. Besides that, I
will say this to you. I am very impressed with the way you've handled yourself. You do one film and then you wait, and I'm gonna chill, and I'm gonna do the next film and the next project and the next project, and you, in your own right, are creating a blueprint of how something can be done.
Never do a movie you wouldn't go see.
All right, I like it. That's what I tell my agent all the time. Which movie I won't go see. O'Shea Jackson Jr. here on the Pod Show. Be honest. More importantly, he's a Laker fan, guys. I'm sorry you had to sit through all of that, but that's why I wanted you on the show. That's the reason why we did the show today, guys.
We the Lakers. Everybody needs to stop disrespecting us.
We back next year?
Hands down.
We back next year.
We waiting for y'all.
See you next time on the next edition of
The Marathon continues.
The Marathon continues.